Hello, and welcome to the Stride Report podcast. I am Ben Weissel, and joining me, as always, Garrett Zallen. How's it going, man?
Ben, you are currently in another country south of the equator. I, meanwhile, am sitting at home in, I think, like Zeus's mighty rage of a storm, where I'm pretty sure a bolt of lightning just struck my balcony here, and I can't. It's raining so hard I can't even see across the street. So if for somehow, some way, we are able to get this conversation, this podcast done without any technical difficulties, it will be a miracle, a true miracle.
Yeah, we were trying to get the recording done last night when I was flying into an undisclosed location, but immigration took forever. This will be. I think this is what the second time we've had a podcast where someone's been international. Did we do a podcast like
There's been a no, there's been a couple.
couple? Okay,
There's been a couple, yeah.
all right. So
Because
this is
I was
the
in
first time.
France and then I was
That's right.
somewhere else. Yeah, I forget where else, but yeah.
Hey, this is what it means to us to get these out for you guys. We're doing it from different. We're doing it literally in thunderstorms that are biblical, and we're doing
Right.
it in countries that are far away. So if that doesn't tell you what we're in it for, then I don't know what else will.
We make it sound like I'm sitting in the rain,
Oh,
like
you are,
instead
you
of just
are. It's we've done like AI and we've removed the rain,
right.
but you're actually sitting in it currently.
Exactly.
Yes.
Wyatt is just the best editor out there. He can do those kind of things. Things that we were happy did happen though. We got a new rating in review on Apple Podcasts up to 115 there. Nothing on Spotify, but quick and easy review. Great content for knowledgeable people. Smooth, relaxed style that makes the podcast flow well. Thank you. Sincerely appreciate that. So simple, so easy. 5 stars. Really appreciate you doing that. I know some people don't think it really matters. It does actually matter with the algorithm. So thank you there. Today, for the sake of our schedules, for the sake of this storm, for the sake of Ben's travel, we're not really going to do any conference realignment stuff. We were going to talk about Texas State to the Pac 12, Grand Canyon to join Mountain West this fall. It just kind of seems secondary to what the actual conversation was going to be today, and that is transfers. A few big ones, a few that we've originally reported as well. And Ben, I'll let you kick it off. You let me know where you want to start.
Yeah, let's start with I think the biggest one, and that is Solomon Kipchoge headed to Washington State. The and I love how you wrote this in, or how this was written in the article. The 29-year-old rising sophomore with 3 years of eligibility remaining. So we've talked about the age stuff enough, but just remarkable, honestly. Has run 13:35 at Big 12s. He's run 28:06 in the 10K, and I think inarguably his best PR is his 59:37 and a half marathon. Clearly one of the more talented runners in the country, and I mean a huge pickup for a Washington State team who mentioned earlier that they're going to become more distance focused. This is a program that has taken some of these hyper talented athletes and turned them into all Americans before. And I think this is a big step for them as they develop in this new Pac 12 conference that is going to be a lot less competitive. This could put them at the very top, and I think could also potentially pave the path for them to get back to national relevance.
Yeah, I mean it's certainly an interesting move, but one that makes total sense, right? Washington State says, "Hey, we are going to go all in, or we're going to put heavy emphasis now on a distance-focused roster." And they immediately make that move because I think they know and they realize, like, hey, we've been able to get Evans Kirui, right? We've been able to get Joseph Melly from the G2 level. But now, you are able to land a Solomon Kipchoge because you probably have the funds now to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Kipchoge's a top 5 name in the NCAA when he's at his very best.
Yep.
He won Ontario Barrios Invitational, and I hate times. I usually hate talking about times, but the man's ran an 8K in 22:01 and 22:08. Got second at Big 12 championships in the to Brian Massow I'm sorry, did I say Big 10 or Big 12? Big
Big
12
12.
championships. Yeah, it's Big 12 championships. And he was the Mountain Region champion. Was DNF/DNS at NCAA Axie championships. Regardless of the point stands, he's incredibly, incredibly talented, regardless of the age. Consistency on the track's not really there. Prowess on the track in general is just generally not there. But he's now going to go to a Washington State program that has, him, that has Evans Kipkurui, who's run 27:30s for the 10K and was an All-American in the 10K this past spring, and Joseph Melly, who was a sub 28 10K guy as well. And so all three of those guys are going to come in this fall. And Ben, I'll now pose this question to you. This team has 3 heavy-hitting low sticks, very minimal depth. Like, the depth is bad, to put it bluntly. Is this a top 25 team in the country right now?
Again, I haven't done the deep dive into the rankings quite like you have, but I think from what you've talked about and from what you've seen from just the mass exodus of seniors leaving the NCAA, there aren't going to be I don't think there are 25 teams that are better set up than Washington State right now. I mean, again, the depth is a massive issue, but I mean, Solomon Kipchoge, he was, I think, in our top tier when we were previewing NCAA's this past fall. And so, I mean, you get him, you're going to have Kipkurui, who's, I think, taken incremental steps throughout throughout the year. He definitely looks a lot more refined. And I think Melly's the little bit of the question mark, right? Obviously runs a great track time, but can he translate that into an All-American finish? Even if he gets close, I think they're a national top 25 team, because I think the top 2 is just so strong, and I just don't see that many other teams that are going to be better than them, quite frankly.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's like I think about it like this. Like, I don't want to say that they're a top 25 team, but you have
Somebody has to.
Somebody has to. But it's like Kipchoge and Kipkurui, right? Like, is it? Those two guys are definitely top 15 guys in the country right now. They're maybe both top 10 guys, maybe. And then Kipchoge's, depending on who you talk to, maybe the 5th best name in the country, like 4th. Like, it's really good. And then if we've been talking about this mass departure of seniors and how there's guys in our preseason rankings that we'll be posting in like 2 weeks, where I'm like, man, he's there. He's in that spot. And that's kind of where I'm like, man, Melly, why could Melly not be a top 50 name after being a sub 28 minute guy? And you kind of start doing the math. Like, it's kind of like the Alabama model of 2017, where they had the top 3 low sticks, heavy hitters, and their depth was bad. And I think this is like going to be the same model. Like, regardless, even if it's like worst case scenario for their bottom 2 scorers, if the top 3 deliver, I think mathematically they have to be a top 25 team.
Yeah, right? I mean, Alabama was like top 15 teams with the similar kind of setups, right? Yeah. And so even if they're like a poor man's version of that, they're almost certainly still a top 25 team.
And I don't think they're a poor man's version. I think they're almost just as good.
Yeah. I mean, you look at the top 3 and it's pretty similar to the best. I think like Hillary Chariot is probably more established than Melly as like that number 3, but I think that's your biggest difference, right? And I mean, the depth we'll have to see. Obviously, then that's gonna be like I don't want to say make or break, because the make or break is just all 3 runners have to run really well at top 3, but their ceiling will probably be dictated by how well that 4th, 5th runners turn into.
I agree. I mean, they brought in like Cater Bronwell and Kuto Stevens from Oregon, and like they bring back Bruce Evans. Like, these guys are good-ish, and I say that like generously. Like, they're okay, but they're not like if you were to tell me like one of those guys was your 4th scorer for a national qualifying team, I'd be like, ooh, I don't know how comfortable I feel about that. Now, maybe one of them takes a big step, and that would be awesome if that's true. But yeah, I mean, it's the wild west over here. Now, Washington State, I think they could get back to the national stage. The crazy part, though, is that like they need to run well at the West Regional Championships. Like, that region's not getting any better. And if they get pushed out, if they can't get past a certain team, Yeah, it's gonna be bad.
That's honestly going to be their hardest meet, right? Like, I mean, if you're talking, or most important, because once they get to nationals, it's almost like one of those situations you roll out the ball and they're going to be into the top 25. It's just getting there is going, and they're going to either need to pick up some Colas points along the way, which I think that Alabama team did in years past, or they're just going to need to beat at least one really, really good West team.
Yeah. No, and that's. I think they'll eventually end up with more. Like I think if you're now a distance focused program, that means you're probably going to some pretty major meets.
Yeah.
So they'll probably end up with some points, and like there's going to be a scenario where they just need to run well at one of those big meets, like the Gans Creek Classic is this year's version of like the Cowboy Jamboree or the Virginia Invitational or
Like the
whatever. So
pre-nats. Yeah. Kind of.
right.
Yeah.
So um, okay, moving off of that, we'll move off of that Solomon Kipchoge news. Mina Scatchard from Princeton, grad transfer to Stanford. Stanford doesn't usually add transfers
Mm-hmm.
or grad transfers. This is pretty unique to them. And I also like they haven't really been that successful with recruiting like top high schoolers. Like now they did land Olivia Seslak, if I'm saying that right. I have no idea if that's right. This year I think is a little bit better, but like the year prior, I was like, where is everyone? Kind of deal. But now Mina Scatchard, she was runner up in the indoor mile. She was a 40. She was a 428 miler, 201. I
408.
want to say.
Yep.
Yeah,
Too flat
two
0.81.
flat 800-meter runner. So exceptional on the track, and then she's pretty solid on the grass too. Like she's going to be a really solid scorer for a team that I think kind of needs the help after losing like Zofia Dudek and Audrey D'Adamio, and you don't really know what the status of Amy Barnes' health is right now. So I thought this was a nice pickup and kind of matches the academic prestige. So it's not like that's going to be anything new for her.
Yeah, I thought it was a perfect fit, and it's interesting. I was thinking about this, like, yeah, you see a lot of these Ivy Leagues go to like a Virginia or North Carolina, like these more East Coast strong academic schools. You don't really see many make the trip across the country and go to Stanford, even though again it lines up with kind of a similar atmosphere. And I think this is a pretty strong fit between program and athlete in terms of kind of what they both need. Honestly, I think you give Stanford another more like miler type of runner. They obviously are loaded in the 800 department. It kind of fills in a gap there. And again, as you mentioned, gives them another scoring option for cross country. And then for Scatchard, I mean, she gets to work with some of the best runners in the country in the above and below distance for her, which I think is only going to make her a better miler and a better 1500-meter runner, which I think has to be a very tantalizing opportunity for her.
Well, like not only that, but if Stanford wants to, they can win the national title, the DMR.
Oh
Um,
yeah,
like
absolutely.
it's not even a conversation. If you put Scatchard, Whitaker, and Willis on a relay together, like Whitaker on
Doesn't
the opener, yeah,
Yeah, it doesn't
like
matter who your 400 is. Doesn't
it
matter.
doesn't matter. It literally does not matter. You could have the worst 400 leg in the field, and it would not matter. Like, I mean, you're not beating that lineup. Whitaker on the opener, Willis on the 8, and Scatchard on the anchor. Or you put Scatchard on the opener, and you
And
put
you put
what it
Whitaker at
doesn't
the
like
end. Yeah.
really. You can kind of I mean, I wouldn't put Willis on the anchor, but other than that, like you can kind of mix it up as you want. I think they could. I think there's actually a world where they're going to run the collegiate record, like assuming Whitaker's back and at the top
Yep.
of her game. We know Willis is, assuming Scatchard makes like a smooth transition, but she's also run 15:48 for the 5K. So like it makes me optimistic about like what she can do on the grass.
Mm-hmm.
123rd at NCAA XC, but she was second at Ivy League championships, 10th at Paul Short, like 9th at Mid Atlantic. She's pretty solid. Like solid runner on the grass. So she's going to help there, especially as they try to replace, like, kind of like stabilize the middle portion of their lineup.
Yeah, exactly. And that's, I think, again, I won't add any more because I think, yeah, all the reasons why I think it's a perfect fit for both parties in a lot of ways. Let's move on and let's talk about another transfer, and that is Dominic Serum.
Sure.
Headed to Colorado from Toledo. He has 2 seasons of eligibility left for track, indoor and outdoor, and 3 seasons of cross country eligibility. So he comes in with a lot of potential to help this team not only now but later, which I think is the exact kind of guy that Coach Carlson is looking for in Boulder. A very underrated runner. I think kind of flew under the radar throughout the year. I'm trying to pull up his PRs.
He was
13.
third. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, 13:33 in the 5K. And then on the grass, he was what, third at Great Lakes?
He was third at Princeton Fall Classic. He won the MAC individual title, third at Great Lakes, struggled at the national meet, 172nd. Yeah.
And I think that's almost predictable in your first NCAA cross country championships. Now, if he would have finished like 70th, yeah, sure. Do we feel a lot better about him? But I'm not going to take 172nd as like, hey, this proves that he can't run very well on the grass. I think all of his other performances point to someone who is going to be a key piece for a long time for Colorado in their cross country lineup. And I think has the potential of maybe not this year, but certainly in years to come of being an All-American. So he joins Dean Casey. They do lose Simon Colati to this lineup for Colorado. Cole Matheson, Isaiah Givens is there. It feels like this Colorado rebuild's been kind of stuck a little bit.
It's been a year.
Yeah, I know. I guess there just hasn't been a ton of momentum, right? I feel like in the last couple of months, and I think this gives it like that little boost that you're hoping can kind of. I shouldn't say kickstart because, like you're saying, it is only a year, but I think this gives a lot more promise to Colorado this upcoming year.
Yeah, I think it's certainly an important and key move that like is kind of underrated. Like the last year's team kind of felt patched together.
Incomplete. Yeah.
Yeah, it felt incomplete. Like Dean Casey, he was good, but he wasn't always good. And Cole Battinson was solid, but he wasn't always good. Like Givens was like a little up and down. Like there was gaps in the lineup. Like you can point to guys and be like, none of you are running like poorly, but where's the umph? And I think Serum gives you some low stick upside, gives you a complimentary low stick alongside Casey, right? There's less need to go dig into the depth of your roster in hopes that you can fill in a gap, fill in, whatever scoring spot you need in that lineup. They're still going to have to do that, but not to the extent that they would have had to. Like they would have had collectively develop like 3 guys to make up for what I think Serum effectively replaces, which is give them a low stick and give them one less scoring spot to work about. Now that you have Matheson, Serum, Casey, and Givens.
Yeah, and there almost needs to be another move, right? Like you feel like another move's coming, and I would be shocked if there isn't, because you look at that lineup and that group, and you see the faint outlines of a solid lineup, right? It's not all together there yet, but yeah, I think again, we say this a lot, and because there's more and more transfers that come along, but it's rare that you see a transfer with this much eligibility that can come in and make an immediate impact. And so for Colorado to land him, I think is huge. For him, are you surprised that he picked Colorado?
A little bit. I mean, he's just not the traditional international name, goes to Colorado. Like I think this is a pretty unique and rare move for Carlson. Someone tipped us that this was going to happen. I was never able to actually get to it or check it. So yeah, I am surprised though. I think it makes sense. Like I like why, if you're Colorado, why not? Like why would you not take this? But yeah, I mean, I standard international guy, from one of the African countries. You kind of suspect that he's going to go to an Alabama and Iowa State and Arkansas, and now it is Washington State, Texas Tech, New Mexico. So, but hey, great win for Colorado.
So. Yep, absolutely. Let's move on. Ruben Reyna from Arkansas headed to the transfer portal. He's run 3:36 in the 15, 7:44 in the 3K, and 13:41 in the 5K. He's made it to the national meet 4 different times. Has not made it out of prelims. this past year, I believe. And so a talented runner, clearly someone who can run with almost anybody in the country, but doesn't provide a ton of value. Provides, actually, I shouldn't say that. Has provided some value on the grass. I think it's not something you're banking on. You're banking more on his track production, but does have one full year across all 3 seasons of eligibility. What do you think about his potential landing spots? I think that the classic Oregon, Washington are always going to be up there, but any other potential spots for
No, I'm almost 1,000%
him?
confident that it's going to be Oregon, Washington. Like, fun fact, if you go on his Instagram, and like Instagram, the algorithm will show you like commonly followed accounts that you follow first, right?
Yeah.
Well, we follow every account, every college, basically. And if you go on his following, outside of Arkansas, there's only 2 other programs that he follows. It's Oregon and it's Washington. Like, that's it. And like, it would be weird if he didn't go there. Like, he has like connections to Oregon. He was training with those Oregon guys like a couple summers ago. Um, his profile picture is a picture of him at Oregon. Like, it makes all the sense of the world. Washington's been the dominant 1,500-meter mile powerhouse. I think he's so underrated. I know he's not been great at the national meet this last year, but like, who cares? Who cares? Go get him. If I had a guess, I'll say he goes Oregon, but it's a 50-50 flip.
Yeah, I'll go Washington just to be the other side
the
of that 50.
contrarian.
The other
You actually
50.
believe that, or are you just doing it to be the contrarian?
A little both. I can believe a little bit and want to be the contrarian. And also you just see like in Washington, obviously they've historically had all this depth, but the depth is kind of dissipating a little bit, at least at the top end. So you're talking. I mean, Hauser's gone, Wascom's gone, Green's gone. Like they need someone to kind of pick up that and be a 10-pole 1,500-meter miler star for them. So I don't know if Reina can be the can reach the potential that like Nathan Green did, but he's someone that can at least provide a lot of that same value.
Yeah, I think it's very similar value, especially like he was 13th twice at SECs, which is like that's like a no joke series of results. So he just has to produce that more and more consistently. But yeah, I think it's all about the mile, the 1,500. Like that's really at the end of the day what they're trying to go for. But yeah, it's going to be Oregon, it's going to be Washington. I don't know which yet, but that's one of the 2. I want to move to this next one, Rogerio. I don't know.
I'm gonna go Rogerio.
Rogerio. Oh, a little.
I don't know if that's right, but he's
Spanish?
Portuguese. I feel like he's Portuguese, so I would assume the G is kind of silent there.
Yeah, leave it to me to get the nationality wrong, but sure. Okay, we'll go Amaral though. Amaral from South Carolina to Tulane as a grad transfer. He has run 28:23, I want to say, for 10K.
Yep.
Sub 4 miler. I would be very, very careful about trying to face Tulane this year.
Mm-hmm.
This is a good team. Like, I like this team. They have Bernard Chariot, right? Yep. They have Silas Kipkurui, who ran 8:24 in the steeplechase this past spring. You add Amaral, right? And then they have one other guy who I'm blanking right now off the top of my head. I think they have like Ilya Kunin, who was like a pretty solid name for them. I think he's returning. Let me just try to see if we have any more notes regarding just where some of these guys are coming from.
I'm not sure. I don't know if Kunin has eligibility or not, but yeah, I think
he is.
Okay. So, I mean, to your point, the interesting thing with Amaral is South Carolina does not sponsor cross country. So we haven't really gotten to see a lot of cross country performances from him, while we have gotten to see a lot of really good track performances. So he's kind of a mystery box when it comes to the cross country production. And if he can match what he's shown on the track, then to your point, he adds a great dimension to Chariot and Kipkurui.
Gilbert Rono from Texas A&M, the guy who's run 3:37 for 1,500 meters and was 17th at the South Central Regional Championship. He is also on this team now. I would not mess around with Tulane right now. Like, is this a top 25 team?
Maybe.
Maybe. Do you feel better about Washington State or Tulane right now?
Oh, Washington State, no doubt.
What?
Oh,
They have
100%.
no depth.
I know, but I mean, I think they're way better through 3.
Right, but like, are they so much better through 3? Like
I
Bernard
think so.
Chariot, would it be stunning if he was an All-American this year?
No.
Would it be stunning if he was top 80 this year? No.
No.
Salas Kiptanui, 825 steeplechase. If he's top 100, would you be stunned?
No.
And Umbrell, if he's top 100, would you be stunned?
No. But I mean,
Right,
we're
so
talking
the margin of scoring is not that much better. It's not that much better. Like, whereas the drop off of Washington State is significant, whereas Rono and Kunin or Umbrell, whoever, they at least shorten up that back end in theory.
I mean, again, if you're relying, again, 337 is great, but if you're relying on 337 for your cross country, I don't.
17th at South Centrals,
Yeah,
which is not a great region. I'll
No.
admit, it's not a great region.
I mean, yeah. So I hear you. I would tend to err on the side of, hey, these 3 guys, I feel, at least 2 guys, I feel very, very confident in Washington State, and a third that I feel just as confident in as like any of these guys on Tulane. I think that's where I will side with the Cougars there.
Yeah, I'd have to go back and double check the math, because I do think it's one of those things where the math gets a little tricky, but I don't know. I like Tulane. I would not sleep on them. It's a good team. It's a sneaky good team.
Fair point.
All right, we're moving off of that. Tennessee, bring in some dudes. So Tennessee
Yep.
has already signed Zuhair Rodain, the top freshman from last fall, top true freshman from last fall, I should say. Or, well, depending, we voted him top freshman overall, and I think that's because the most complete season, best at the national meet with a complete season, yada yada yada. He's now at Tennessee, right? Ethan Edgeworth from Colorado ran 13:38. He's a redshirt freshman on the grass this fall. He's heading to Tennessee. He's transferred to Tennessee. And then, as first reported by Josh Grenade, Nelson Mappy of Kenya, he is signing with Tennessee. Mappy has run 340 for 1,500 meters, 147 for 800 meters. And I want to say he ran 14:13 and 29:15, all of which were run at 6,000 feet of altitude. That top 3 is not as good as Washington State's, but is it a top 25 team?
Yeah, I think so. I think the scary part with Tennessee, and I mean, we're going to be saying this probably for a lot of teams in that back end of the top 25, is you're just relying on a lot of unproven guys, right? To be your consistent scorers, at least unproven on the national level in cross country. And so I think that's the part where you're a little bit nervous. Obviously, Rodain is going to be a great low stick for them. You don't have to worry about him. It's just everybody else after that. What do you get out of them? And I would expect strong performances, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's a lot of inconsistency with this team throughout the fall.
I don't think they're a top 25 team. Yeah, I just don't. I think that I have no idea what their depth is. I have to go check out what the rest of the roster is. I like Rodain a lot. I think we just don't know enough about Edgeworth. We don't know enough about Mappy. But is it at least encouraging to see that Tennessee can get back to a competitive spot? Yeah, it is. And I don't think they're maybe even done. I would imagine that Justin Duncan's not going to just sit back and be like, yeah, we'll work with this, assuming that they have the expense sheet for it. I don't know. Assuming that they have the budget for it, the funds. Yeah. Words are hard, but so yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think there definitely feels like there's another move for maybe a little bit more of a solid, like, dependable piece, right? Like, I feel like the Mappy, Edgeworth are kind of the flyers that you want to fill out as your 4th, 5th scorers more than your 2, 3, right? Now, I don't think they're going to be able to bump them all the way back to 4 or 5, but if they can get at least a dependable 2, or even if they don't get someone a top end that can be a 2, but if they can just get a guy that can be a consistent locked in scorer for them that they can trust, maybe a grad transfer just to kind of solidify the lineup, I think that makes a lot of sense for them. But let's move on and let's talk about some recruits from Kenya that are headed to the SEC, and that is Abigail Chemdegai of Kenya, who's headed to LSU, and Raymond Kipkurui of Kenya headed to Missouri. And let me pull up their PRs unless you have them.
Cheptegei is a 15:29 5K runner, whereas Kipkoek has run altitude converted 13:22 for 5K and 28:23 for 10K altitude converted. So yeah, really impressive stuff here for Cheptegei, or am I saying that for Chemnegai? I should say.
Yeah.
LSU now is, I think, after they signed Chep Kamoy last year, right? Who just was an All-American, top half All-American, the 10K this past spring. You add a 15:29 girl now to this roster. Ella Chestnut returns. She's run 32:46. Not quite as good on the grass as maybe that PR would suggest, but still, you're now beginning to see a little bit more of a long distance investment. LSU is not going to qualify for the national meet this year.
No.
But would they qualify next year? Maybe, because if assuming that you add another one, or maybe 2 years from down the line. When would you say, if I say, hey, you had to bet your life savings, they're going to make the national meet? It's either going to be, if I came from the future and I said, I know that LSU is going to qualify for the national meet, is it going to be this year or next year?
Next year, 100%.
I'm sorry, not this year. I meant, is it going to be next year or 2 years? When do they qualify?
Probably 2 years. Probably 2 years.
I agree. I think it's 2 years. I think they're still 2 years out. I think because that way the eligibility stacks favorably for them to keep these two international runners and build around them.
Absolutely. Another move to Missouri on the women's side is Feline Minning, or is it Feline Trudeau? Are we sure on?
Should we talk about Kipkoek first? Missouri?
Yes. Sorry, go ahead.
So he's run, a great long distance talent, low stick caliber kind of runner, right? You get him, you get Drew Rogers, who I think you and I both really like a lot. Yep. He won the Raleigh Relays 10K, was like the SEC championship in the 3K. Really good runner there. And then they had Limo, who was an 8:23 altitude converted steeplechaser. Wasn't really that great this past spring on the track. Pretty underwhelming, but in theory, you have three like low stick caliber names again in theory, and then you return a heavy portion of last year's lineup. I think most of them come back with the exception of like one. Missouri, I'll ask you the question: more likely to qualify for the national meet this year or next year?
Next year, definitely. I think. Well, how much eligibility does Drew Rogers have? I guess that's the real question.
That's the thing. I think this is his last year.
Oh man,
I could be wrong. Let me double check.
If he's gone after this year, then honestly, I might say this year, just because I think they'll improve and get some more guys. But I think it's going to be much harder to make the national meet in 2 years than it is this coming year.
Does it make sense to redshirt him?
Yes, I think it does. I think it makes a lot of sense.
I think so too. I think you should redshirt him. And I really like Rogers. Like, I really want to see him race this fall. Although I'm wondering, when did he graduate? Did he already use the red shirt? That's what I want to know. Did he already use it? Let's see when he graduated high school. Because if he was 2021 and he doesn't have any, no, okay, so he didn't technically redshirt the fall season yet. So he could redshirt.
Yeah, I think his first cross season was 2022.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yep. So he could. So something to consider there. Okay, now let's go back to Feline Charuto / Feline Mening. Don't know. She's going from Alabama to Missouri. Missouri women now get a little bit more interesting. Tough loss for Alabama. Charuto had run, she was 87th at the national championships last fall. Great run. She was 16th, 15th at SECs. 15th.
That's incredible.
And what is
that you like are able to pull that out? That's
I thought you meant her result. I mean, I was like,
psychotic.
Yeah, I have a problem. Anyways, but then she was also what I think 5th at Loyola Lakefront.
She was 5th.
Oh, I'm so good.
No, that's not good. That's not. You should not be able to pull these.
It's my job. It's literally my job.
No, it's no one's job to be able to pull out like a regular season result from like the 100th best runner in the country. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. I'm in it for the love of the game. I just study at night, like when I go to bed, I just have the national meet results like taped like on my ceiling, so I can just
that I could understand, like memorizing the national results, memorizing the Sean Earl Loyola Lakefront invite in October. That is the borderline crazy behavior.
Hey, listen, just no one will ever question us and saying that we don't know what we're talking about. Okay. So throwing it out there, but yeah, she was great last fall. I think has low stick potential. Monica Wanjiku, I have no idea how to say her last name. Monica Wanjiku, I think, looked like a low stick this past spring. She did not race on the grass, but 15:40, 32:21 in the 10K this past outdoor track season. You had her, and then they had Bromell, who was 13th at SEC's last fall. You add those three together, you get a pretty good nucleus. The problem is that the depth is just not there. They need way more help. And so I think it's going to be another developmental year, maybe redshirt Bromell. I don't know, but still a great pickup for a Missouri team that steadily improving, picking away, getting recruit after recruit after recruit.
And that Midwest regional is tough too. That's It's not the easiest region to get out of. You don't normally see a lot of Colas points like get pushed in. You usually have to finish top 2, top 3, and usually you got your staples who are making it. But are you at all concerned? I mean, Trudeau obviously had a very strong cross country season. Her track performances are uneven, to say it kindly,
They're not
over
good. No, they're just
the
not
winter
good.
and spring. I mean, again, I don't want to read too much into it. Who knows how healthy she was, but like a little strange.
I don't know. She was a freshman, and she's international, and she's clearly better on the grass than she is the track. Like, I think there's just some athletes, and it's not super common, but you see it from time to time, where like they are definitively better on the cross country course than they are on the track, and they are better positioned to be long distance athletes than they are to have turnover based things. International athletes, sometimes they're not used to racing on the indoor oval. Like sometimes it's just not the infrastructure there in Africa, or at least certain parts of Africa, to have an indoor track facility. So yeah, I'm not like totally shocked. Like, she was great across the board, and I really wouldn't expect anything different.
Yeah, I guess that's a fair point. All right, we got a couple other quick hitters to go through in terms of transfers. I'm going to run through, let's say, 2 at a time here. We got Mary Nyabuki of Kenya, who's headed to Tennessee. She comes in, I think, with PRs of 4:11 in the 15 and 9:16 in the 3K. You have,
which will run at altitude, by the way.
Yeah, both at altitude. Then you have Desma Chepkoech, also of Kenya, who is headed to Florida, and her PRs are
9:29 3K, 16:16 5K at 6,000 feet.
Both at
for
altitude.
Josh Grenade.
Yep. So both strong pickups there. Who is more impactful to their respective program this year?
It's going to be Chepkoech to Florida for sure. I mean, Florida was like, because you have Olumamwe likely coming back. You have Judy Chepkoech coming in from Arizona State, All-American transfer. I think Tia Wilson's going to be good. I think Bethan Morley's good. Through 4 runners, I feel like you get really solid, just like really solid scoring. Like, I could see all 4 of those women being top 100 national meet finishers, and I think they were. Maybe one wasn't. But yeah, I really like that group in general. So I think in a way, Chepkoech, she doesn't need to be like amazing. She just needs to complete the lineup And I think she does that. And I think now Florida's a way scarier team than some people realize.
Yeah, I think from a national perspective, obviously the Chepkoech addition is much more impactful. I think Naibuki though is probably more important and probably has a bigger impact at Tennessee. Of course, I don't think it's going to move the needle all that much at Tennessee, whereas Chepkoech, like you said, is just hopefully going to provide another strong scorer for a Florida team, kind of rebuilding itself after after they had that, what was it, 3 or 4 that one big summer. Was that only a
Yeah,
year
they
ago?
had
2 years ago?
no, that was 2 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, where they just went wild and they got all the grad transfers and Olamamwe, kind of piecing together another strong lineup around Olamamwe. Moving on, we saw Nico Schultz of Nebraska headed to Penn State, the 800-meter star. And then we had Ahmad Kadri of Eastern Kentucky headed to Oklahoma. No cross-country eligibility currently, but I think we have he has a waiver out, which I think it becomes a lot more impactful, certainly, if he gets that cross-country eligibility. But again, Kadri is someone who, at his best, is one of the most versatile runners in the country, and I think helps an Oklahoma team that has invested in its distance side over the last year or so. And he presents another scoreable option for them if he gets that waiver for cross country.
Yeah, the waiver is crucial. I mean, you want to talk about like right now they have 4 guys, right? They brought in Tobias Chariot, who has already been really solid, like borderline top 50 name. Reminds me very much of like Dominic Serum, who was actually originally
Mm.
at Oklahoma before going to Toledo, now Colorado. But then they have like Shadrach Kiptu, who ran 13:22 indoors. They have like Evans B. Watt. They have like Ronald Nigetich, right? You have 4 guys who are like talent wise, strictly purely based on talent. Those 4 guys can be really dangerous. If Kadri gets the waiver, whether it's for this fall or next fall, it doesn't really matter. If he gets the waiver, you have a complete top 5, or at least a
Mm-hmm.
good enough top 5s. And that's, I think, the scariest part about what Oklahoma could be with him. Nico Schultz, he said in like his YouTube video that like he wants to go somewhere like that's warm and where he can train year round. And then he went to Penn State, which I don't really get. But I mean, makes perfect sense. It's a good fit. Surprised he went to a conference rival within the Big
Yeah.
Ten from Nebraska, but perfect fit, makes sense. Not surprised.
Yeah, Happy Valley isn't Happy Valley because of the weather. So he's
No.
gonna figure that out soon enough.
Yeah, that's. I remember because our state meet, our indoor state meet would be held there all the time in high school, right? And then I would go up and watch my brother race at Penn State all the time because he went to Bucknell. And every winter, I'm up there like, why am I up here in the middle of the mountains, freezing my ass off? Like, yeah, it's not warm. I will tell you that. But
All right, let's wrap it up with 2 more transfers, and that is Syed Mikhail, who is now on the portal. He does not have any cross country eligibility, but again, is someone that when he hits when he's at his best, he's a special talent. Although the lack of cross country eligibility definitely hurts him significantly in terms of his overall value. And then bringing it home with our last transfer, we have Jillian Candelino moving from Tennessee to Ole Miss. She's run 16:08 in the 5K, 33:30 in the 10K, was 22nd at the South Regional and 156th at Nationals this past year in cross country. So another strong scoring option for the Ole Miss Rebels.
yeah, Mikkel, where do you think he lands?
I don't know. It's these kind of profiles are always so hard, like where you don't have the cross country eligibility. Maybe it's like in Arkansas. We've seen them do that before. I don't know. I struggle to place these kind of eligibility athletes.
I don't have a good answer for you. I really don't. My thought is like, would he reunite with Adam Tribble at Georgia? Remember, because they were both
Yeah.
together at California Baptist. Georgia's now investing in the distance side, but they're also very clearly a track first program.
Yeah.
Both of those guys worked together previously. Now, obviously, he transferred out, but like, what to say he doesn't come back? That's the only other one. I mean, maybe he tries to go to Oregon. I think Oregon at this point's like, we have a blank check for anyone and everyone. So I think if we can get points out of him, sure. But yeah, I really don't have a good clue. I'd say Oregon or Georgia, but I don't have a good idea.
Yeah. These are always tough ones, but I do like the Tribble angle. I think that has potential. Plus the fact that Georgia's not going to be focused on how their cross country team performs this year. So I think that makes a lot of sense. Alrighty, I think that's all we got. I think we got a lot more out of that than I think we expected.
Yeah. I mean, we are limping by on this Wi-Fi connection between where Ben is and between this storm, which is still not totally over. It's passing, but not totally over. Thank you for listening. 5 stars rating and review, and also be prepared. Our individual top 50 cross-country preseason rankings are coming soon. Ben and I will likely talk about some of that on next week's episode. And then the week after that I think it all gets released. And so I think I have most of my men done. I think I have the men's order done, and the women I'm about a little under halfway through. But I will send you that after I finish the women, and you can bark at me and give me some calls while you're on your flight back. So, but yeah, that's it. That's all I got.
All right. Well, yeah, I look forward to getting that list. It's always fun to get the first drafts and start ripping it apart and being mad that I'm like, hey, this guy's definitely better than this, or this guy's definitely not that good. And then you come back with reasoned arguments that are frustrating to deal with. So it's a time-honored tradition.
I love that, man. All right. Well, until then, 5-star ratings and reviews, subscribe on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, and that's it. That's all I got.
All right. Well, until next week, Garrett, I'll talk to you.